So I'm just going to try mixing as I go here. Just take out some of the most offensive frequency. See, the thing is, it's not that wrong. It's just too blooming loud. So let's just hit A, and we'll keep it. I think we're just gonna have to do it like that. Well, that's an option. That's an option for later, I think. Okay, that's cool. Right, well, that's the hardest bit done. Everything else from here is super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Reference to pitch meetings there. So we're looking at the woodwinds, and this is what I've got so far. And I'm going to talk you through what I've done. So we're just going to isolate the woodwinds here. Okay, so you kind of get the idea of where we're headed with this. Let me just move that a little bit. And so what I've done is, for the piccolo, I've got a Celtic tin whistle. Let's see what that's doing. It's basically doing exactly the same thing, but it just sounds a little bit dirtier, a little bit more human, which is what we're going for. Then the first flute, we have a Chinese DZ flute. Both of these are coming from the Logic sampler. Right? Then we have the Native American flute in the low end. You see how we're getting the breaths? And together they don't sound like an organ. They sound like three separate instruments, and that's what we're after. They've got a good onset as well. So then the clarinets are coming from Spitfire, because the free BBC symphonic orchestra is excellent for clarinets and good for most things, actually. But the thing about it is, it's best when it's slow moving. So when you've got like these lovely kind of long, beautiful, but when it's really quick, they tend to have quite a slow onset. Even the staccato has a slow onset. We're using the clarinets from Spitfire, and there are 3 of them, and they sound like this. You see that? So I've got one doing staccato. Not brilliant, but the best of what we've got to work with so far. So that's fine. So then we have the oboe. Again, I've got one oboe from the Spitfire Symphonic Orchestra. Sounds pretty good. And then I'm backing it up I could do with a little bit more. And that is actually, it's from the sampler, but it's not an oboe, it's a bassoon. So what I'm doing is I'm playing the bassoon out of range. So the bassoon can't play this high, or, it will struggle to be up in that upper range. But by playing it out of range, excuse me, by playing it out of range, it sounds a little bit more like a woody blown instrument. It sounds a bit more like a wood instrument than the actual dedicated oboe instrument. So again, what we're doing is we're looking for that human, we're looking for that kind of little bit kind of dirtier sound than the perfect sound that you get from sort of slightly low end or free unpaid sample instruments. So that's quite a nice little workaround by playing stuff out of range. We're going to do the bassoons. We've got the BBC Symphonic Orchestra again doing our bassoons. So all of our woodwinds together. This I'm not so sure about. It doesn't really work for me. I know it's in the score, but when we're listening to just this, it tends to muddy it up a bit. That doesn't really sound like anything. It just sounds like a cheap synth. So I might actually just ditch that. But we'll see what happens when the rest's in. I'm loving that up the top. I'm alright with that. I think that's kind of cool. So let's move on. That's what I did with the woodwind. You can see that I've played a little bit. I haven't added anything other than a bit of EQ. So I've just kind of tickled it on the EQ. You can see that's got nothing on it at all. Some of them I've just kind of cut off the low end just to try and blend the sounds a little bit better. We actually have, we have bus 4, which is actually wind. And I've given it, you can see I've given it a bit of air. That's to try and get some of those breaths out. See how that kind of breathes? So just adding a bit of air up the top, it just kind of makes it breathe a little bit more, stops it sounding so in the box. So anyway, let's move on. So let's go into the jazz. And this is where, into the jazz. I look at these and I just think jazz. So into the brass. So well, first thing we've got is a French horn. And French horns are quite hard to come by, decent sounding French horns. So, well, when in doubt, we're going over to the BBC Symphonic. You see, I'm just rolling off that very 300 hertz here. Might just kill a little bit of 300 hertz. Hello, where's my cue? Come on. Yeah, no, we need that. Okay. Not really doing very much, as you can tell. Second one, we've got, again, it's kind of nice, big full sound. And they're kind of on their own over on the left hand side. This is where sort of horns are placed. So we just kind of, if you look, they're all the way over here, and we're going to keep them over there. And then all the other brass is right over the other side. So you kind of surround yourself with brass. So you've got your low warm ones over here, and then you've got your higher brighter ones over here. But then you've got your tuba. as well. And I'm going to jump forward to the tuba, because the tuba, we're going to introduce another plugin. How badass is that?